Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Eclipse Kitchen. This recipe is a really great Italian-inspired meal that is super good. I absolutely love how tasty it is, especially when you have the cheesy garlic bread on the side. This doesn't really take that much ingredients to make this meal, and for the garlic bread, you just need whatever leftover buns you have or 4 pieces of bread. Before we go see the recipe, I want to add that the alfredo sauce itself will thicken over time as it cools, so don't worry, it will thin back out when heated. Okay, let's pull up the recipes and see what you'll need for this. Wow, that's one heck of a recipe. Let's start with the main course and then go from there. Okay, so for the sauce, we're starting with a half cup of grass-fed butter. That's a lot of butter, but trust me, this will make the sauce super creamy. Talking about creamy, there's the 500 milliliters of heavy cream. I know nowadays they don't exactly give you the full 2 cups worth in some places, so you just need to add in 25 milliliters of whole milk to make up the difference. Here's the cheese. I find when doing this version of the Italian Alfredo, the half of 400 gram brick of cheese works wonders. You can substitute it for Parmesan Reggiano if you can afford that cheese. I personally use either Havarti or Gouda, and it turns out really well. The spices are entirely up to you. Basically, I use a pinch to half a teaspoon of kosher sea salt in the sauce. I tend to use a full teaspoon of the garlic, basil, and oregano, which so far it's turned out pretty tasty and close to the store-bought Alfredo sauce. The mustard and turmeric, I tend to add a bit into the vegetables as they cook. The pasta is entirely up to you what you use. Traditionally speaking, one would use either linguine or fettuccine as their noodles. I personally use the Catelli Bistro Tricolor Fusilli. It makes the meal a bit fun to eat. There's the ground meat. You can pretty well use whatever regular ground meat you want, just make sure that it's regular ground, not the lean meat. You want the fat that's in the meat. Alternatively, you can use strips of boneless, skinless, pasture-raised chicken thighs instead of the ground meat, or you can use the ground Italian sausage. Here's all the vegetables you'll need for this. You just need them in small cubes. You don't have to go like super small. Just watch the behind the scenes video to see how I chop my vegetables. There's the high quality oil again. You just want enough to lightly coat the pan. And lastly is the Stroob's Willie's zucchini relish. This really goes well with the Alfredo sauce and adds that little bit of sweetness to it. Alright, now the main course is done, it's time for the side. I really like the name I made for this portion of the recipe, Leftover Buns Cheesy Garlic Bread. Basically, you just need a couple of leftover buns sliced in half, or 4 slices of whatever bread you have lying around. You also need enough softened grass-fed butter to lightly spread on top of the bun/bread. The spices are to your taste. I personally love garlic, so I tend to put a lot on, along with even amounts of oregano and basil. And finally, enough shredded cheese to evenly put on top. It's super simple and a good complement for this meal. Alright, and now on to the main portion of the show. There we go. Cool. So I'm doing kind of a double recipe for this time. Could be doing the pasta and Alfredo. So still have to cut up my meat. That hamburger ready, and this will be kind of a quickish meal, depending on if you guys use ground beef or if you use what I'm using, which is the vegetarian crumbles. Put those guys in there. because I need to use that later. And half a cup. So that means I go about there. And okay. Don't want that one, I just want this one. I'm saving a little bit for the garlic bread. Just on the chance I need more butter. I'm gonna actually have to use another knife. Okay, so that's half a cup of butter I need to measure out. What else should I need? Another knife for the cheese portion. Should have cut the cheese first, then the butter. Oh well. So yeah, got half a cup of butter. Yes, that's a lot of butter, but it's how the recipe goes. It makes this very, 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 very buttery, and it's so good. I'm just gonna grab a, go on this side. Yeah. Grab another knife. Got my cheese already pre-opened, kind of. So yeah, I'm just getting the last bits of the prep done. So I need to go put there. Yeah. So half a brick. I'm not kidding. This recipe needs half a brick of cheese. This will do for next time I do this recipe. But yeah, half a brick, that's about 200 grams around there, of cheese, and you can use Parmesan Reggiano, you can use, I'm using Gouda right now, you can use cheddar, any type of cheese that's not mozzarella. Let's just put it that way. Anything that's not mozzarella. You don't want this like gooey, you want it cheesy. So I'm just gonna quickly do this, throw my couple of tablespoons of oil into the pan, get that ready. Warm up my butter, or soften my butter a little bit. Where's that knife? Now I'm thinking of it. I'll just wash that knife up so I can use it for the garlic bread, which will cook around the same time. Got the oven preheated to 350 so I can get the garlic bread cooked. That's going to take another cup of cheese. I'm going to have to grab another. Can I have more cheese, please? Thank you. I just realized, oh, I need more cheese. Because the garlic bread needs cheese, and so does the. So the Alfredo needs cheese as well, so I'm like, ha. And I just threw the knife in the water. I was wondering why I was missing any ingredient. I don't know. It's the extra cup of cheese. Not cup and a half. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly grab the amount of cheese that I want. There we go, okay. So now I can use that knife for the spreading of the butter. So yeah, this is going to be the, what do they call it? Leftover buns garlic bread. Or leftover buns cheesy garlic bread. I mean, you don't have to put cheese on it, I love cheese, so I'm going to put cheese in my recipe. And cheese is just more protein anyway, so that's that. I'm going to be finishing shredding this one and then throw the shredder over there and get that ready. So I got my cheese for the Alfredo ready. There's only like one difference between my recipe and what traditional Italians do. Really, it's using Parmesan Reggiano and omitting the cream. That's about it. The amount of butter that you use is the same as the Italian recipe, so there's that. I put the garlic, oregano, and basil in with the alfredo because I kind of like that. And if you notice, most of my recipes don't have pepper. Actually, pretty well every recipe doesn't have pepper. I just find if people have allergies to black pepper, I might as well just omit it. I don't particularly like it either, so this is safe for those types of people as well, so do that. Okay, cheese, do not fall off the counter. I need every morsel. I worked up the counters. And yes, that's all the cheese that you basically need for this for the alfredo. I'm just making sure that I get all the cheese from the inside. A couple of smacks, and so that's ready for that side. And you'll be over there because I'm going to use, I'll do this one in a second. I just need to get the oil on. Get the water and get the oil on. Because this will be like a lickety split. So again, 2 tablespoons of your oil of choice. Olive oil or avocado. Just want just enough to make the pan non-stick. Despite this is a non-stick pan, I'd rather have it really non-stick. Okay. That's it. And I'm just waiting on the pan. So actually, I'm thinking about this will take a long. So I might as well toss this in. Since I'm going directly from the fridge to eating it softened, usually do maybe 5 to 7 seconds. That way, get the butter all done. Let me smush my buns a little bit. Really didn't make me bun this even. As long as the butter is like, as long as the butter is soft, like spreadable soft, it's about as good as you can get. So we need these two. I usually put garlic and basil with the garlic bread. You can use parsley, but I like using a little bit of a lighter. Like if I'm doing Italian, I'm going to go full Italian on everything. So yeah, I'm gonna put it on for 5 more seconds. It's a little slightly hard. That's right. So yeah, you basically lightly butter the leftover buns that have been cut in half. You can also use like hamburger buns like I'm doing. Regular bread does the same thing. You just lightly butter it. Get ready to go into the oven. This really doesn't take long to make garlic bread. Well, garlic toast. Garlic bread is a totally different thing. Okay, so make sure that everything is going to be like tight together. So I'm going to do there, and it's going to do there. Ish. I actually used 3 more salt and butter. I like mine a little bit more buttery. But you guys can judge for yourself how much butter you want. So make sure that all my bread is buttered. And the pan will be nice and hot in a second. You can already feel the heat. Okay. A little bit of butter left. I'm just gonna spot and use it where I want. There we go. So basically that. I already got my cheese ready. Just throw that in there. And this goes in the dishwasher. So, water's just about ready to boil. That's just about ready. Oh, I really move this off of the stove for a moment. As I'm going to do something special with that as soon as I put the vegetable in. And this is going to make a lot of noise in a short second here. This oil is nice and toasty. I'm going to make sure that I have plenty for the entire meal. So yeah, this is basically 1 carrot, half a green pepper, half an onion, and 1 celery stick. It's basically what I like doing for this recipe. For my chili, I like doubling the amount because I love my vegetables. Oh good, it didn't snap, crackle, and pop on me. So yeah, this will take a little bit. I'm going to add the mustard and turmeric and the garlic into this. I just like those spices for my vegetables. Ooh. That's why. Okay. I opened it from the wrong end. Oh well. I got the right amount anyway. And mustard is a good spice. It's got a lot of interesting properties to it, so I don't mind if it's a bit of normal. That's why I generally put to the person's preference for the spices most of the time. Unless it's specific. There's only like, what, 3 recipes that I know that are specific, that need specific amounts of certain spices. But yeah, most of the time it's to the person's preference. Water's just put oil. That's good. So I'm gonna get that water boiling. This is gonna take 10 minutes to cook a little bit. Add a little bit of water. I actually don't mind if this is a little bit liquidy in there, but just want this going. Butter's ready to go. Let's do first garlic fist. Waiting on that. I love garlic, so you can put as much or as little of the garlic as you want. I will have both recipes in the description below, so you can kind of follow along. It'll have like the cook time and what temperature to cook it at, the cook time around there. And what else? And measurements for all the ingredients. I love my garlic. And yeah, I'm just tapping my garlic. And I want to make sure that I get not too much, not too little. Just the right amount. And then if I'm putting basil on this, kind of finishes, it kind of mellows out the garlic a little bit. Like if you accidentally put too much, it doesn't like go, oh, that's way too garlicky. It's just kind of helps it balance out in between. So yeah, so basically, if we were to throw this in the oven right now, that's basically what you want. So it's got the butter, has the butter and the garlic and the basil on it. So if you were to do it straight without the cheese, that's what it would look like before the oven. But since I love my cheese, I'm going to go and add my cheese. And it's always nice to have, to do your stuff, or to cook your garlic bread and such on parchment. I might have put a little too much. That means I can put extra cheese on the other. Or save the work for next time. But I do like having cheese on this. Cheesy garlic bread. Let's go about half for this brick. Let's see. Because once this is ready, and once my stuff is ready to go on the in terms of cooking, I want to get my vegetables cooked up first, and then then I can cook the pasta. Really, the pasta is only like 10 minutes tops. Okay, cheese, I want to stop moving the buns. Just want to move the bloody cheese. There we go. But yeah, parchment paper saves the pan. You don't have to really clean it that often. Only find. Unless it's like super greasy, then you might want to wash the pan afterwards, even with the parchment paper. But again, that's as cheesy as gonna get. Okay, fine. As long as it's got cheese all over, I'm fine. Okay. Just need to grab it. Here. Let's see if I can do this without. Nope, I'm gonna have to move the camera a little bit. There. I just need to squeeze my fingers in and grab a. There we go. Haha. So yeah. Right, let's put you back there. There we go. So, got my garlic bread situated. I have enough for another set of garlic bread for tomorrow, so yay! I got leftovers. Even 4 more leftovers. Okay. There. And this is basically ready to go. It's gonna be ready soon. And I don't really need to. So, let's check on the veg, see how they are doing. Yeah, that's on 6, okay, so it's just slowly warming up. I got my water pre-boiled, so I don't have to worry about waiting until the water boils. It's already boiling. So yeah, I just have to wait for the thing to cook a little bit. Yeah, this garlic bread is going to be grand. Well, that's why. When you have the parchment paper on here, it's a lot easier to go from pan to plate. You just bring over the parchment paper and then slide the garlic bread right off, and it's good to go. Okay, come on. So it's going to be a nice dinner. Nice dinner, supper, however you guys call it. I mostly call it supper. It's one heck of a meal. A lot of ingredients, but a lot of goodness, and it's very hearty. Just like all my other recipes are pretty hearty. So yeah, this is already 7:42. Okay, so I need 7:45. Oh yeah, and by the way, that's 2 cups exactly. Ergo, it's half a bag because I had it about that high, and basically half of this. If you get the Italy Bistro Fuseli, basically half of the box is 2 cups. So, yeah. So. Don't want it overcooked. I just want it nice and still have to cook 10 minutes anyway. So I'll make sure. Where's my green pepper? Here's a big piece of green pepper. Yeah, you're still crunchy. Okay. So now I can turn the water back on, get it back to boiling. And while that is, which is like almost instant, I get to do my work here. Nice thing about ground crumbles or vegetarian ground crumbles, you don't have to cook it. Normally it takes about 5 minutes to cook ground meat from raw, so you just want it in a nice brown color. You don't want it like overcooked, because it'll still continue cooking when you add in the sauce to simmer. Yes, I get it. This is, I get the pot is boiling. You want to shake the lid. Okay, I need to wash my hands. Wash my scissors. Get that. My hands are already in the butter, so yeah, that's 2 cups. Turn it down to 7, so I'm medium high. And then I think about once the pasta is done and I'm starting to do the alfredo, that's when I'll put the garlic bread in. I just wanted the oven nice and hot for when I actually put it in, so I'm not waiting around. Okay, till the cheese grater in a moment. So yeah, that's 2 cups. It seems like it's that much, but this will also, once it's cooking, or once it's cooked, it'll double in size, so just right. 7. I'm going to time it on my phone because it's a lot easier. Actually, you know what? I'll just time it on the thing. There. So timer on there. That's going to thing. Van Hoover's going around or doing their convention stuff. Getting notifications like, no, I don't want the notifications yet. Okay, so let's mix this guy around. Alternatively, you could use a medium pan. Cook your hamburger in that while you're getting your vegetables steamed up. And then you just transfer the whole kit and caboodle into the bigger pan. Okay. That's this. 10 minutes of that. So that takes about 5 minutes. Should be able to get, I don't know why I didn't use the timer on the stove. It's supposed to be like that. And I just need 2 tablespoons. Please and thank you. I'll turn this down because cooking, I just need 1 and 2. So there we go. I got Willis relish in there. That's 2 tablespoons about of zucchini relish because I like the sweetness with the. Actually, I don't need this. Oh, I just need this. I like the sweetness with the alfredo. I tried it with the chili sauce. It just doesn't give the same flavor. So I'm making my meat kind of sweet for this. So that's not. I basically just have the fixings for the alfredo. So 2 cups of milk. I got half a cup of butter that keeps the brownies rolled off. And I'll revive that because I do not want a mess. Me and buttling. I like to bustle when it comes to cooking. So while things are cooking, I like cleaning up, making sure that everything's all spick and span while I'm cooking. So I have less dishes to do later, or less cleanup to do later. And I just need to do my that's what I've done. Get my few dirty dishes done. A few dirty dishes washed. So yeah, I got that going. I got 6 minutes left on the pasta. And so yeah, as I cook, I clean. That's how I was taught. My grandmother had this one saying which I love to a T. It's if you like to eat, you gotta learn to like to do the dishes. I'm like, it's a true statement. Because when it comes to cooking, you have to do the cleaning. And you have to learn to like to do the cleaning if you like to eat. Those, what, 2 recipes that I based off of some of my grandmother's cooking, so that's coming up in a short while. These episodes are coming out every Friday, so when you're watching the breakfast bowl and the behind the scenes, that should be out on February 4th. This one should be 2 weeks later from that. Like 2 weeks or 3 weeks later. But yeah, I'll have it scheduled every Friday from the 4th of February onward. 4 minutes and a half. Good. That's, I think I'll put it on for 14 minutes. It's not going to hurt the garlic bread, it's just going to make the cheese a little bit more brown. But yeah, this is a quick recipe. It'll be in the description below. I'll probably put it in the intro showing both recipes. Just saves on, I'm going to do one recipe at a time. Because this one's a short recipe. The scones one, that one's its own thing, and you'll probably see that, I think it's the next episode or the episode after that. I think it's the next episode. I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I think I have my production schedule. And, oh, it is, okay. So, it is on Monday. So, that'd be the next episode will be the garlic and cheese scones, and then the week after that will be the chili. So yeah, those are gonna be fun recipes. Not much of a baker, but I really like making those scones, and they're pretty low on the carb side of things. Basically, your only carb that you're ever going to have in the scone recipe is your unbleached flour or your flour and whole milk. That's about it. Everything else is like basically zero in the numbers. So I'm feeling that. Yeah, I got 2 minutes 40. And it's already starting to double in size, so it's good, because it'll grow even bigger once it's in the other. And I need the colander. The strainer, the drainer, the colander, whatever you call it. It's the thing that drains water from pasta, or from potatoes, or your whatever. good. And yes, I did turn it down, or turn this down. I don't want it to overcook yet, so I'm gonna turn it up once I incorporate the Alfredo into it. So I'll get it to thicken in the stove first, and then I'll put it over, or pull it over, pour it into the thing, mix it around, and then let it simmer for like 5 minutes. And then after that, it's basically serve up and mow down. A minute and a half. Okay. And you know what? I'm gonna put these guys in. I'll have what? A minute? Might as well just put this in now. Times 14 because that way I have things going. Whoops. 14, please. 14, 15 actually. Let's go 15 minutes. So that way the cheese is really melted, a little bit browned, and make sure everything's toasted on the outside. 2, 41, 40, 39. All this waiting is like the boring bit, but I like doing this, like showing you guys the realism of how to cook things. So however long I'm filming this for is exactly how long it takes for food to be made. Just in between the intro and the outro. And 10, yeah, we're basically ready. So turn it down to medium because that's what I need for the sauce. Yes, I can eat those. Thank you. Okay, so I just drained my pasta. Throw my half cup of butter into the same pot. And just wait until that thing bloody melts. But yeah, it is half a cup of butter to use in Italian thing. And this meal will do, it can do 2. I wouldn't recommend it because that's a lot of food. But it definitely does about 3 meals for this recipe, so. So you basically take a third of the overall meal, and that would be like 1 helping. So you could feed 3 people 1 meal, 1 person 3 meals, or 2 people 1.5 meals. So I mean, I guess you could double up on the meat and such, and it would be fine. Love this grass-fed butter. I've noticed a big difference between doing the grass-fed butter and regular butter, especially in taste and the way it melts. Like this stuff, I mean, it only took what, 7 seconds in the microwave to get the butter to be soft. This is what, less than a minute, and almost all the butter is already melted. Whereas it takes about, for the same amount, about 30 seconds or so. It like takes longer, 30 seconds longer. On top of that, this stuff is already starting to brown, which is good. So then you're gonna have that little bit of nutty flavor. I like how some people, when they're like bashing the dairy industry, they're like, oh, they use hormones. I'm like, okay, they use a synthetically created natural hormone for increasing milk production. There's certain farms that will use palm oil and put it in the cow's feed. I know 2 farms, well, one of the farms kind of shut down, so don't know about nowadays, but one of the farms, they basically pasteurize their cattle. Milk. They basically pasture raise their cattle, so they're out in the fields eating the grass, walking around about 3/4 of the year, and then the winter seasons they're inside. In the mornings they get their usual healthy grains, and then they get milked about twice or 3 times a day, depending on the cow. Let's measure this out. Actually put a lot more garlic. So usually, okay, that's about, wow. I'm really good when it comes to eyeballing things. It's usually about, I usually use about a teaspoon. And do I actually measure? No, I don't measure. Today I'm measuring because I want to see if my eyeballing is exactly the same. And it is. It's actually kind of scary that I'm seeing what I'm eyeballing. I'm like, oh, okay, that's exactly what I've been doing. Okay. And there we go. I know you can use like thyme and all the other Italian seasonings. I don't really use those. I just use the garlic, basil, and oregano, and that's it. I like keeping things simple. Not too much on the spice, not too much on the... I want flavor, but I don't want like too much flavor. So right now I'm just mixing in the spices into the heavy cream and butter mixture. Turn it down to 4 because I want to make sure the sauce doesn't burn. So now that's mixed. Other thing about grass-fed butter that I like is once it's mixed into like heavy cream, it stays mixed. It doesn't separate. At least I've never had it separate. So there we go. Got the cheese in there. This is where I have to like really pay attention. That's why I'm turning that down. But yeah, this is like the true to Italian with small modifications. I mean, only 2 different ingredients. I've added the cream and I changed the cheese. That's about it for this. So if you really want true Italian, then you just use Parmesan Reggiano, same amount of butter. You can use real garlic with this. And they'll do about the same thing. I think it's about 2 cloves of finely chopped garlic. It's either 2 or 3. I mean, this way you have like 1 teaspoon of garlic powder in there, and that's it. It's just as garlicky already. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that the cheese continually moves so it doesn't stick on the bottom. But yeah, you go until the sauce is starting to thicken, and then you put the sauce into the meat mixture and over the pasta. Okay, let's put you over there. This makes you... I got like 30 seconds anyways, so... I'm letting the pasta kind of get the flavor of the meat stuff while the sauce is cooking, and then the starches from the pasta itself will help thicken the sauce. That's why there's no flour in this. No roux whatsoever, for those that are of the French culinary stuff. So the roux is basically butter and flour that's been blended together over heat. That's basically what it is. You'll be able to see that when I'm making the, at least the cheesy Italian. Yeah, the homemade hamburger helper cheesy Italian. I'm going to actually make the full cheese sauce with that. So that's going to be an interesting recipe. So that's the pasta already mixed in. Good. cooking this type of pasta for like 10 minutes. It's cooked, but it's not like soft, so it still has a bit of hardness to it. That's why when you're cooking it, when you're adding it to a sauce or adding sauce to it in your brain's stopping today. When you're adding it to a sauce or adding it to like a meat mixture like this, it's still going to continue cooking. Okay. Oh my god, everything's all blended. So I've got the butter, I've got the heavy cream. I had to add a little bit of milk to this because nowadays the cream isn't 500 mils, it's, I think it's 473? It's not even 500 mils anymore, which is 2 cups. Use the cup measurement stuff. So. But I find this Alfredo recipe is a lot better in both flavor and in texture than what you would find in the grocery stores. I've had a lot of Alfredo or store-bought Alfredos as soon as I made this the first time. I was like, okay, I'm making this from now on. So yeah, I'm just keeping on making sure that it's stirred at 5 minutes. This will eventually thicken. I'm doing it a little bit slower. I should turn it up a little bit. So I'm going to temper the sauce. I'm not going to cook it. You don't really need to cook the sauce. You just need to get it to thicken a little bit. But I will say, when you mix these two together and then you put it in the fridge, it does solidify a little bit, so just be aware of that. All of that, it does that's the oregano oils. That's all of that's the oregano. That's kind of cool. It's like olive oil on top, but it's not. That's the oregano. That's kind of neat. That happened here. So yeah, the sauce, the cheese is already melted in. That's why I said not to use mozzarella with this, because you want it to dissolve in the sauce. You don't want it to be like still stringy. That's why I use Gouda, because Gouda is one of those types of cheeses that it can be stringy when you want it to be, and then when you're blending it in like a cheese sauce like this, it just completely dissolves. What you want. Just making sure that I'm keeping my cooking surfaces clean. Alright. So yeah, 3 minutes. I can actually turn that off at the 3-minute mark because it just needs the residual heat from that point on. So yeah, this is going to get, I got 2 minutes now for that. Nothing. I'm scraping the bottom of this thing. I'm not feeling any cheese. I don't see any cheese. It's well blended. I can smell the oregano. I think I put a little too much in. That's why I said these are the measurements, or to personal preference. So if you don't like as much oregano, you can use less. If you want more, you can use more. I think that's going to be about right. Because I can go like this. So that's the sauce. I'm just going to pour it in. Did any of the G's solidify? No. So yeah, it kind of looks like very liquidy right now, but I guarantee it's going to be thick in like 5 minutes. Don't quote me on the 5 minutes part, but it won't take long for this to thicken up once it's in with the pasta. Okay, so I'll have to do that later. Just mix this in, and it looks very liquidy. This is all part of the course. Usually I cook for a little longer. Normally I would cook it for a little longer. I'll make this. So I'm turned up my temperature a little bit. So garlic bread is basically ready. This is going to be ready in a little bit. Let's timer for 10 minutes. It may take a little less than 10 minutes, but look at that. There is the garlic bread finished, ready to go. Just gonna let it sit there, chill, do its chill things, and look at that. So I already wiped that. I need my container for when I put my leftovers away. But yeah, it kind of turned a little bit yellow, but that's because I put turmeric and mustard in with the vegetables. So, I just have to wait a little bit. Just waiting. I want it to thicken a little bit before I serve up. So, but it's this one today. That one is one recipe. Cheesy garlic bread. So yeah, I don't have that many episodes left to record. I have a lot of episodes. I like saying to myself, oh, I don't have that many, I don't have that many, I don't have that many. Kind of like when I'm doing all day voiceover for reviews and reacts, and is it the Question Corner, in the host side. I'm like, okay, I have, like, for example, I think it was the last episode, I had like 46 something lines, 46 around there, lines to record, and I'm like, okay, let's do this one at a time. So with me, this last cycle a little bit, so I'm like, it takes me a while and takes me several takes to do the voice acting. So I always try my best, and it takes like 3, 4, sometimes 5 takes just to do one set of lines. But I push through. It usually takes me about 3-4 hours to do my full session. But then it's done, and I feel better about myself, and then I just go and get the art animation done. All the I'm glad I. Oh, look at this! It's already thickening. Glad I have like all the art assets done ahead of time before doing all the script writing and the voiceovers. Then all it is for me is just point click and make sure that each little art or each character model has such and such length. I'm up to, I think, 150 for the 150 different models for the Pegasi slash alicorn character models, and then for the unicorns, I think it's about 120, 115 around there. Sorry, I got my back turned. I'm trying to do my dishes while I'm talking. But yeah, it is a lot of work. I'm still trying to find people for episode 6 of Question Corner. Been trying to ask around. Really would like to get Dr. Wolf at some point in time to do one of these episodes, but that one's a hard one to find and ask. Just like Lightning Blizz, just like Armo, Fire Choker, aka Firebrand, SBO, all of them I really want to have on this Question Corner series, but trying to figure out how to do the ask, when to do the ask, and how to get them to say yes. Because they not only get to just do the voice acting and that's it, but they get character models done by me. So whatever character models I use in their particular episode, they get a copy of all their character models. So it's sort of like an art trade, but they collab with me. I give them the art assets of their character, which I find is a pretty good deal. Not sure if it's actually good business, but shows my talent anyways. And this is just about the good. This is just about ready. I was right on saying about the 10 minutes. But yeah, once that sauce is in with the pasta, it starts really thickening up fast, so that's that. Almost done my dishes finally. Got a few minutes left, so I should be able to get my dishes done. I'm ready for the last 2. So yeah. So at least I got enigmatic for episode 5 for Question Corner. That one's going to be, well, on your end, it's going to be already out on February 1st, but for my end, I have got to look forward to doing all the video editing and the script writing and such, so that's going to be a lot of work, a lot of fun. I can usually pull one of those episodes out in about a day and a half. I know these cooking show episodes, they'll take about 24 to 36 hours to render each episode. Okay, so you are ready. Here we go. And it's bubbling. I like it when it bubbles. Then I know it's like right where I need it to be. Haha. I like that sound. Oh. But yeah, the cheese is already incorporated, everything's all incorporated, ready to go. So with that, I'm going to plate. So, I know this could go a little longer, but, and I could do this on a plate, but I like bowls because they keep the food nice and hot. A little more. Just trying to remember how much will make me go, okay, I'm really full. So, got that basically ready. My garlic spread's ready. I could have cooked it for a little less time. Deal with that in a moment. Last but not least, I know I'm not going to use ketchup this time round. That would be terrible, and that would be an insult to my cooking when it comes to this. So yeah, I'm using Forte's classical sauce because I like mine with half meat sauce, half alfredo. That's about it. You guys could just have it with just the alfredo, or you can add in that. And I'm gonna wipe that corn off. But yeah, this is a really good recipe. Takes a while, but it's pretty tasty. So what am I going to do? Even though this is me plating myself, I always like making sure that my top of a plate is clean. So that's the pasta alfredo. And then where's my plate? There it is. In all good fashion, I always put my plate on top. And then this, I should be able to go like this. Good. And I've used that twice, so here we go. Nice and slicing cool. Another reason why I like Baker's Secret. They don't take long to cool down. So there's my food. I'm going to move that over here. And it'll stay nice and hot like that for an hour, maybe two, depending on how not ventilated the bottom is. So yeah, this will deal with me for a couple more days of food. So it does about 3 days worth of meals, of supper meals. I do like 1 meal a day, so it's like 3 days worth of food for me. So yeah, it's very buttery, very good. And that's about it. So there we go, got my food put away. Just have to wash, dry and put away my dishes. So yeah, there. So I got my food for the next little while. Shove it down here, and there we go. So with that, I'm going to cut it here, and well, that's pretty much it for making this meal. Hope it was somewhat enjoyable and educational. Look forward to the next episode of Eclipse Kitchen. Here's where you could find me and my counterpart. Follow us on Twitter and join our Facebook group where you'll get regular updates on what's going on. Subscribe to this channel and our main channel to see all the wonderful content we'll bring to you. And last but not least, become a Patreon and donate to our coffee to show your support for more content like this and more. You all have a great day.